Hello, everyone. I hope that you are well today. I had to get a quick shot of that hidden imagery that you can only see when you shine a light on the box. Now, as is quite apparent by now, we're going to be looking at the Dark Crystal Tarot, and the only name listed on this is Jim Henson, so I'm assuming that the imagery was taken from the movie, although I did find some images in here that I didn't recognize, and believe me, I have watched this movie a time or 5 or 20. I've passed it down from generation to generation, and I've made sure that my children are fully aware of the glory of this movie. When I found out that there was a tarot deck from the Dark Crystal, I was so excited. And my older son came down and he said, "Well, you know that there's a lot more to this story than just the very brief glimpse that you get from the movie." And I said, "No, I didn't know that." And he said, "Oh, yeah, there's so much to it." So apparently, as far as I've been told by my son, there's a whole backstory to all of this, which would be phenomenal because the movie just touches on the surface. And even though the movie is super awesome, one of my favorites, it is kind of just a brief glimpse into this world. And don't you wonder, like, where these things came from and how this all happened? And I guess they kind of give you a little bit of a backstory, but not enough. Like, I want to know more. So I'm going to have to do a deep dive into what's available for the rest of the Dark Crystal story. But in the meantime, here is this beautiful tarot deck. Now, the pip cards or the minor arcanas did leave a bit to be desired, and so I kind of rushed through them because there just wasn't a lot to see there. So I suppose in a way, I kind of went against my very own rule that I only buy things that are drawn by humans. But in a way, this was done by a human because Jim Henson, I mean, he's a human. And the puppetry that he came up with back in, what was it, the 80s, the 70s, I mean, that was absolutely brilliant. Could there even be a more fabulous subject to make a tarot deck out of than the Dark Crystal? I mean, it's completely appropriate. I kind of had a big sigh as I was looking through the stones because they just weren't that exciting for me. But come on, I mean, it's the Dark Crystal, so I'm going to let it slide. I struggled a bit to pick up some of these cards because the cardstock on this deck is really quite good. It's thick. I think it would last a really long time. I don't know how well it's going to shuffle. I actually haven't shuffled it yet, but it is sturdy. So if you are like me, and when you were a kid, you remember this Dark Crystal movie, maybe you watched it even more than once, or maybe now that you're an adult, you're watching it again to bring back those wonderful memories from your childhood, then this is just a really fun deck. I did buy this on Amazon. I will put a link. My channel does make a nickel or so off of a deck when you buy it from me. But most of all, please remember, you are loved.